Luke, guess what happened?
What happened, Michael?
There was a Sonic the Hedgehog trailer released recently, and we actually spoke about it in one of our cold intros, just about how bad it was. And now they've released a trailer, and the design looks better. I mean, I don't really know how much of the actual film they will have changed.
Yeah, here's the thing, Michael. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist on this.
Oh, yeah?
Because
you think Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself? Yeah.
No, Jeffrey Epstein, that's not the conspiracy theory. The real conspiracy theory is Jeffrey Epstein is still alive.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. You know, the whole broke, woke meme. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
No, but back to Sonic. I think they intentionally made Sonic look really fucking weird. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing, like, how do you mess it up that much? He has human teeth, his eyes are all fucked, his legs, his feet. He looks absolutely awful. And then they knew they weren't going to release it for several months. So they were like, okay, we'll put this trailer out, and then we'll release another trailer with it fixed. And I think that may actually be the real reason, or the real story behind this whole Sonic trailer. Because I think there were so many memes about it. There was so much content. You know, like I said before, who's going to give like two shits about Sonic the Hedgehog? Nobody.
Mr. Robotnik.
Apart from that squealing kid who said who was saying you're ruining the Sonic franchise.
When will you frickers learn that your actions have consequences?
Yep, and that was the only person who I ever think would care about a Sonic movie.
Yeah, but now we're all that shrieking kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, yeah, I
think it's genius.
No, yeah, you're right, because I was thinking to myself, like, it's weird that a company would respond to criticism from fans by actually changing something rather than just calling the fans a bunch of racists. So I think that it was a conspiracy is the only logical explanation.
Oh, wow. Have you gone all right on me here, Michael?
No, not really. But, like, there was a whole... I mean, basically, I saw a meme the other day that was like, if you want to, like, know whether or not you should be with a guy, ask him his opinions on The Last Jedi.
I know, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. That was hilarious.
Like, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't care, really. But I do think it's stupid that we seem to be making it so it's like, oh, you have discerning tastes when it comes to cinema. You must be a racist.
Right, yeah, no, I agree. I think that tweet about The Last Jedi thing was hilarious. And yeah, I think, well, maybe they genuinely did mess up and respond to film criticism, but I'm not having it. I mean, the amount of millions of dollars that were put in, marketing techniques, you know, that, like, I think this was all planned from the beginning. But anyway.
Well, you know what? Any excuse to assume the worst, I'll take, so I'm going to believe you, Luke.
Exactly. Will we go see Sonic the Hedgehog movie there, Michael? That's the question.
I don't know. Like, if we were being smart, we should probably review Detective Pikachu when Sonic the Hedgehog film comes out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
But we won't go see it unless we become very rich, and in that time Paramount decides, hey, look at these huge YouTube reviewers. Let's pay them to go give it a positive review.
For Paramount. Oh, I could do that.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I'd let them Paramount me.
Okay, that's enough.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films from the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are celebrating the release of Frozen 2, the re-freezing, by looking at Frozen 1. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Frozen 1?
By the way, that is not the title for Frozen 2. You're refreezing. That'd be a great name for it.
It's a Frozen 2, Continental Drift.
Yeah, unfortunately that's not the case. So anyway, yes, Michael, today we are doing Frozen, an absolute phenomenon that came out 6 years ago. So yeah, it's crazy that considering how big it was, that they haven't done a sequel before now. But anyway, they've done it now, so let's see if it's as popular as the first one was. But anyway, so Frozen is a 2013 American 3D computer-animated musical fantasy film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios and released by Walt Disney Pictures, and it's the 53rd Disney animated feature film. And it is inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale, The Snow Queen. It's directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee, stars Kristen Bell, the wickedly talented
Christian Bale?
I was making a fucking joke about what's that guy called in The Fanatic?
Oh,
John Travolta.
I was going to say John Boyega.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise.
Do you remember? I think it was in the Academy Awards when he introduced
Yeah,
Eddie
you
Montoya,
didn't get her name right.
and he fucking ruined it. But anyway, she's in this movie along with Jonathan Groff from Mindhunter, Josh Gad from Pixels, and Santina Fontana, who I don't know is from anywhere else. Anyway, it was released on November the 22nd, 2013, was Frozen, and Michael, can you tell me the budget for
10
Frozen?
million. No, I think it was had quite a big budget. I think it had like in the 60 million? 60 million.
Wow, Michael, you're way off in this one. Almost 100 million off. $150 million.
Wow. That's crazy.
150 million is a lot of money. And can you tell me what the box office is for Frozen?
I don't know if it made like a huge amount. I mean, obviously it made like a lot, but I don't know if it made like a massive amount. I'm going to go for... I mean, I'm going to say something that now is going to sound like a lot, but I don't know. It might even still be off. I'm going to go for like 800 million.
You know what? I was expecting you to guess like 500, and I would be laughing at you. 800 isn't the worst guess ever, but I preface the talk about Frozen by saying it is a phenomenon. I'm going to talk about it before we get into the plot about how big a thing it was. I remember I actually saw a documentary on Channel 4 like a couple of years ago about Frozen and how many kids absolutely loved it. So the box office...
It was like the Avatar for kids instead of for sad men.
Well, that's the thing. Avatar like died in terms of its relevant cultural appeal. Like no one cares about Avatar, but people cared about Frozen like long after.
What do you mean nobody cares about Avatar? James Cameron's not making those 10 billion sequels for his health.
Well, maybe the health of his bank account.
Yeah.
No, but apart from James Cameron, nobody really cares about Avatar. But people did care about Frozen, as evidenced by its box office takings of $1.276 billion.
Okay, so I was explicitly going to say, when I was talking about how much it was, I don't think it made more than $1 billion, so there we go.
Looking like you messed up it. I'm just having a look, by the way, at some of these stats. It was the highest grossing movie in 2013. It's the 15th highest grossing film of all time, as well as the highest grossing musical before being surpassed by the remake of The Lion King.
That's so disappointing.
It's also the highest animated film grossing film of all time. That's something as well, which you could probably predict with the $1.2 billion it raked in. But yeah, it's just an incredible amount of money Disney brought in from this movie. It really was just a phenomenon. Like I said, it won 2 Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song, which of course, Michael, was...
Let it go, let it go, don't hold it back anymore.
Yeah, okay, I was expecting you to go on for a bit there, but yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for stopping a bit earlier than I assumed. So yeah, that's it on Frozen. Michael, did you like this movie?
Well, see, here's the thing, Luke. You say it was a phenomenon. What I always think about with this film is the fact that a lot of people respond very negatively to this film. Like, I was speaking to somebody, telling them that I was watching this film for the podcast. I told them that I was watching it, and they just went, ugh. Like, when I mentioned Frozen, I went, ugh.
Wait, who was this?
It was actually my significant other. So there we go, Luke. But yeah, so, I don't know. And I remember when it came out...
Did she explain why?
She just said, like, it's overrated. That was, like, the generic thing. Which
okay.
I had, I remember when it came out, I was, like, with my dad at, like, he had a work thing, and I went, because, you know, that's a normal thing to do. But there was, like, obviously a lot of people there had kids, and they were all saying, like, how they hated Frozen. Like, my experience with Frozen has mostly been people saying they didn't like it.
Okay, I think Frozen, here's the thing, there was a lot of backlash to Frozen at the time, and I don't really know why watching this movie. Maybe it's just because it was a phenomenon and it wasn't that great and it was for kids. But I think it's on the Mount Rushmore of things which people just hate for no real reason. And the other 2 things I can think of are Twilight.
Women and minorities.
No, media properties.
No, Twilight.
Twilight.
And Mein Kampf.
No, not Mein Kampf. It was a artist who produced a particular song that came out in 2010, I think.
Oh, Justin Bieber.
Yeah, Justin Bieber with the Oh Baby. Like, that's the highest disliked video, I think, on YouTube. Actually, it might have been surpassed by YouTube Rewind, I think.
YouTube Rewind won.
Yeah, but I think this Justin Bieber, obviously, for like 9 years, was the highest disliked video on YouTube. And again, like this, along with those 2 things, Twilight and Justin Bieber's Baby, or Justin Bieber in general, like, just people just hate it. and I don't get it. Like, it's not that amazing of a movie, but it's not the worst thing ever.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. So obviously that was going to be where I was going with my fact that everyone hates it. Like,
Yeah.
my opinion on it is just, it's fine. I didn't dislike it. I thought there were some enjoyable moments, but it didn't blow me away. What did you think, Luke?
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Like, it's just funny, like, obviously you got that reaction from your significant other, and I was like, we're 6 years, well, not really 6 years, like 4 years, really, away from, like, this phenomenon that took place, and it's like, oh yeah, remember when people hated Frozen? This, like, movie which watching it back is just so, like, okay. It's just alright. It's crazy how people got so worked up about it. Maybe it's just because of all the success it experienced. I don't know.
Yeah, they hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly, Michael. So anyway, let's get into the nitpicks. How many do you have?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think one of mine might actually be very good, but 5, I think.
You said you had a lit pick as well, right?
Oh, and I have a lit pick.
Yeah. How many do I have, Michael? I have 4. So I'll go first.
You go first, yeah.
So first off, it's very unlikely that the king and queen would be the first to help Anna after Elsa ices her in the head.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the term, either way. Ices her. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, like you'd have some servants running in. You know, they'd be like drinking wine, some dignitaries, I don't know.
They should be drinking Bacardi ices.
Okay. Next up, this one I think they Disney did this for a reason. So Elsa, I think I read on the plot on Wikipedia, it's her 21st birthday when she gets coronated and becomes queen. Now, obviously, that should be 18. And I think it's only 21, so Anna can be over 18, when she falls in love. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why they did it.
I was thinking it was because she was going to drink. Elsa was going to drink, and therefore they needed to show that 21 was the proper age where you were allowed to drink.
Yeah, medieval Scandinavia.
That's it, yeah. That's also probably the reason why they don't show Anna and Prince Hans having premarital sex. Those bloody prudes in Disney.
That's probably the reason. So yeah, I think that's the reason why Elsa's 21 when she becomes queen. Why can't Elsa wear gloves while she's putting on her crown at a coronation? She's asked to take the gloves off, and I'm just like, well, why? Why does she need the gloves off? She's about to become the fucking queen. She can just say, no, I'm keeping the gloves on. Who are you to tell me what to do?
That would be just like what Killmonger does. Is his name Killmonger? That would be just like what Killmonger does when he destroys all of the, what's it called?
Yeah, good point, Michael. Well made. No, yeah, I'm sure what you said was really smart. If it made sense.
Yeah. I know, yeah.
Next nitpick. How is Elsa living in this ice castle? I just always, when I watched this movie the first time, like ages ago, I always thought, like, how is she doing this? How is she planning to live up here? She's got no food unless her ice powers magically mean she doesn't have to eat. Like, she's not even got a bed to sleep in. Like, I don't imagine sleeping on ice would be that comfortable. So how's she going to live? What does she do with all the hours in her day? Just sit up there and do ice darts or something? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe she doesn't need to sleep. Maybe they just never mention that.
Yeah, I think
that's one of her abilities.
Yeah, I just don't think it's a very sustainable position that she's put herself in. To be honest, I think after like a few days, she'd be back down to Arendelle.
Yeah, can I please have a bed?
Yeah, can I please have some food, please? Anyway, so yeah, that's it. Do you want to explain your nitpicks now, Michael?
Yeah, sure. So at one point, Anna's like, I want you to take me up the North Mountain.
Oh my God.
Like, that's what she said. Which is funny,
you know what?
Because
I remember that line as well.
Yeah.
So, that's great.
Because whenever you say take me up something, it always means have sex. Number 2, you can't pick a lock with a carrot. Sorry, Luke. Number 3, it sure is convenient that she turned into that special kind of ice that can shatter swords. Number 4, those guys overlooking Anna punching Hans have no basis for knowing why she was punching him.
Oh, yeah, you mean the dignitaries? Who are all like the
like cheering from the balcony going,
they think, good point. They think Han is the bad guy. Sorry, Han is the good guy, and Elsa is the bad girl, I guess. And they're cheering as Han, who's been very noble and being very strong, is getting fucking kicked around. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe they had Disney's Frozen playing on in the background.
I should have put that as a nitpick, man. That's something that I should have got.
I have got another one, like completely that I was thinking of, and I was like, I don't know. So basically, when Hans is trying to climb that wall, and then Mr. What's his face, Snowman goes like, I found stairs that lead exactly where you want to go. The stairs, basically, the point is they wouldn't have been able to reach where they want to go anyway, climbing that little rock face that they were climbing, because you can very clearly see that the rock face is just like a pillar up in the air. It doesn't lead anywhere. But that was like a small one. It was annoying. I just thought, I'm on a roll side. I deserve like a dubious one. Okay. And number 5, even though I already said no one, is having Hans still deliver ice when Elsa can make ice on command. Is everything wrong with capitalism? She can make ice completely, but rather than Hans, no, not Hans, sorry. You
mean Kristoff?
Kristoff, that's his name, yeah.
Trust you to get the two characters mixed up.
Yeah. I couldn't even remember what his name was, even after I was thinking about it. Kristoff, in theory, they've got this complete abundance of ice, but because people need to have jobs in a capitalist economy, even though it's probably mercantilist, but that's not split hairs, Kristoff is still going to be in charge of delivering ice. So it's just, basically we need, if we had the Yang Gangs UBI, then Kristoff wouldn't need to work, and it wouldn't matter that the machines were taking his jobs.
Yeah, no, I think it's more. I'm not sure about that as a critique of capitalism, because it's kind of good that he's employed. Like, what else is he going to do?
Bang Anna.
No, right, okay, you got to get this out of your head, Michael.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, too many comments about Anna.
I will try not to be attracted to 3D animated women. It's just so difficult when they're so perfect. Okay. They're literally designed by people who are like, how can we just like make a woman but like sexier?
Actually, I was looking on Wikipedia. I wasn't going to bring this up, but there was a controversy when one of the animators said it's very hard to make women look pretty or something. In terms of animation,
maybe he was gay. It's like really hard to make them pretty because they're so gross.
Yeah, no, he was just saying how much a challenge it was, because I think he said you have to make them pretty or something like that, and basically, his words were taken out of context.
It triggered the libtards, didn't it?
It really triggered the libtards.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
what's your split pick, by the way?
Yeah, my lit pick. Okay, so it was exactly 60 seconds after Olaf starts counting. So
you actually went back and counted.
Yeah, Anna says, "Wait here 1 minute," and he starts counting 1, 2, 3, and so basically about at the 51. I think it's 53 minutes and 51 seconds, he starts counting, and then at 54 minutes and 51 seconds on the dot, he comes in going 60. So they went to the effort. And the thing is, what's interesting about that is they literally had the two. They had the two have a conversation. So Anna and Elsa were like having a conversation. So they had to be like efficient. They had to be like, okay, we've got to make it so we get all the information we need. And also it's a minute. They really didn't need to, but yeah, they did. And I appreciate that, because I feel like sometimes we've nitpicked other films for saying there's X amount of time, and then very clearly it's not that amount of time that passes. So this film, they did it. Well done.
Yeah, what was the one that did it recently?
I feel like maybe it was the Fate of the Furious. Like I feel like maybe there was a bomb or something, and it was going to go off in like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
and then
yeah. Of course, it's that movie, but yeah, yes. No, credit to them for getting that right. Credit to you for wasting using your time to figure that out.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Luke.
So I think
that means a lot.
Before we get into the plot, I'm just going to talk about the cultural impact Frozen had. So, during the spring and summer of 2014, several journalists observed that Frozen was unusually catchy in comparison to the vast majority of films, in that many children in both the United States and the United Kingdom watching Frozen so many times that they now knew all the songs by heart, kept singing them again and again at every opportunity, to the distress of their hapless parents, teachers and classmates. Those who have disclosed that they are the parent of a Frozen-obsessed child include former UK Prime Minister David Cameron. She might have watched that at a pub. As well as actors Amy Adams, Ben Affleck, Kevin Costner and Vince Vaughn. So and that is, again, I told you before, I saw a documentary on it. Kids were just obsessed with Frozen. It's going to be interesting to see if there's the same level of obsession about Frozen 2 when it comes out. Also, in 2014, media reports of the 100 most used baby names conducted by Baby Center, Elsa was ranked 88. It was the first time the name had appeared on the site's chart. Sarah Bennett, manager and director of the site, explained that while the film's popular heroine is called Anna, Elsa offers a more unique name and is also a strong female role model. Many parents revealed that their choices of name were heavily influenced by the siblings. So there you go. Vice President of Disney UK, Anna Hill, and she's called Anna, later commented that we're delighted that Elsa is a popular name for babies, and it's lovely to hear that for many families...
It's better than Daenerys.
Well, I was going to get onto that, It's actually their siblings who have chosen it, and that Elsa fights to overcome her fears and the powerful strength of the family bond. And that
it's about
relatable.
Family.
Yeah, that's what makes it so special. Frozen was also the most searched movie of 2014. Frozen also was the best-selling title in the respective areas of all media, like on the Google Play Store, on the album, the soundtrack album as well. And it was the most illegally downloaded film of 2014.
Really? Those kids are pretty tech-savvy.
I know, right? 30 million downloads. The Zoomers, they know what they're doing. But I think, again, like it just... you mentioned Daenerys. I don't know if Daenerys got into the top 100 unique baby names. Certainly, after what has happened with the final season, I think obviously people will be regretting that choice, perhaps. But yeah, Elsa. No, it's I guess because it's just a movie, and there's not going to be another season where the writers or the what are they called? They're not the writers.
David and showrunners. I think
showrunners. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, the showrunners aren't going to completely fuck over the character. So yeah,
that's true. To be honest, I'm looking forward to when Elsa in Frozen 2 just freezes the entirety of Arendelle in a blind rage.
Yes,
it's going to be great.
Yes, it's going to be great. Can't wait for that. No, so yeah, that's a bit of, I guess, info background on how popular this movie was. And yeah, obviously our age range, our demographic, because we don't have kids and we don't have siblings who are that age. I guess you and I, we didn't really experience it. But yeah, apparently this was a massive thing. And yeah, and that's the thing, I was popular with both girls and boys, which was quite interesting. Like, boys liked it just as much as girls.
What a bunch of sissies.
Well, we'll get onto that in a bit. But yeah, that's the thing. I remember... looking at the Wikipedia page, and they were wondering whether Frozen would it appeal to boys as well as girls. There was concerns about its commercial viability in that regard, but yeah, raked in 1.2 billion, and it seems to like cross gender boundaries. It doesn't matter that two famous or most interesting characters, the main characters are girls. Doesn't matter. It was popular among everyone at that age. So there you go. That's a bit about Frozen, the highest grossing animated movie of all time, highest grossing musical after it was surpassed by The Lion King. And so, Michael, shall we get onto the plot now?
Yeah, why not?
Frozen. Let's talk about the actual movie, what happens in this movie. So do you want to go first? What do you have to say?
So I kind of feel like there's sort of two things in a way going on at once. Basically, you've got the Elsa thing with her having superpowers, and then you've got the Anna thing, mostly centered around kind of the romance angle, but not entirely. Obviously, like, she's got other things going on. So I guess start with Elsa, seeing as the film is called Frozen, and of course it comes from that name because Elsa has the ability to freeze things. I will say, like... I find it funny that they're like, oh, it's a curse. And it's like, it's not that much of a curse, really. Let's be honest. Especially seeing as, what really bothers me is that she apparently... This might sound like a nitpick, but it's not really a nitpick because it's like too integral to the plot. Basically, she learns to control it at the end, like seemingly quite easily. She just says, "Oh, I'll just use love," and that's it. Like, there's no real challenge to it. Like, literally by the end of it, she's just able to control it. There's no problems. Which, coupled with the fact that apparently this, there's a bit where someone's like, was she born with it or was she cursed? As if, like, this kind of is something which exists. Like, this is a common affliction people have. And you think, so has nobody else ever learned to control it? And if
that's what they're going to expand maybe in number 2.
Yeah. Basically, I was thinking to myself, like, it's a bit contrived, the whole kind of center of the film. That's why I say it's not really a nitpick. Because, like, at the center of the film is, like, this idea of, oh, this frozen power, this ability to just freeze anything. It's so horrible. And you're like, is it, though? All she needs to do, literally, is not... directly aim at another person. Like, yeah, if she aims at another person, she could potentially kill them, and that would be bad. But that's it.
Here's the thing. So, I guess we'll get onto the writing, because what you brought up, I guess, is relevant to the writing of this movie, which I was going to talk about later. But essentially, you're talking about how Elsa, she's meant to be a sympathetic character. She's meant to be like cursed, like, oh, I've got these powers, I don't know what to do. Even though she's like Frozone from The Incredibles. exactly
Yeah.
the same powers, and he's a fucking superhero.
Where is my super suit?
Oh, you did that so well. Well
Thank
done.
you, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing: a breakthrough in terms of the writing, because I looked on the Wikipedia page and I've referenced that page so many times, but it has a lot of information, as you might expect.
Well, anybody can edit Wikipedia, Luke, so it could all be complete nonsense.
So essentially, they had a real difficult time trying to write this movie. It was in development hell back in 2010, I think, so that's only 3 years before its release. So essentially, they were obviously trying to adapt Hans Christian Andersen's tale, which I have forgotten. What is it called exactly?
It's called The Ice Queen?
It's actually called The Ice Queen.
Or it might have been called The Snow Queen?
I'm thinking The Snow Queen. It is The Snow Queen.
Yeah,
I was wondering...
ice queens when you say like somebody's, she's a real ice queen.
Well, maybe that's where it comes from, where that phrase comes from.
Maybe
The
that is
Snow
it,
Queen. Yeah, because I remember studying The Snow Queen back in like primary school or something. About the queen who kind of corrupts this young boy. I think that's what it was centered around. But, yeah.
I'd let Elsa corrupt me. So
maybe she wouldn't be interested, Michael.
what?
Yeah.
What a freaking... I'm so angry. There's no words to express my misogynistic rage at the notion that my animated waifu would not be interested in me.
So here's the thing. Because they were trying to adapt The Snow Queen and turn it into like a family-friendly Disney movie, it's quite hard, because I remember one of the writers saying, it's quite a dark tale, The Snow Queen.
But surely Disney's used to that, like, adapting. Like, Hunchback of Notre Dame ends with him, like, fucking a corpse. No, he doesn't do that. But somebody does die.
Okay, yes. But I think maybe in 2013, maybe things are a bit different. I don't know. Like 17 years later.
True, yeah.
Or however long it is. And also, maybe it's just harder, just the structure of the Snow Queen is harder to get around the fact that, it is a pretty dark tale. Like, I don't know. Like,
I've never actually. I don't really remember the
no,
original.
that's it. I'm trying to remember. I could just go on the Wikipedia page and look. But essentially, I'm trying to recall back to the primary school days and think about what happened in that story. And from what I can remember, it didn't seem too pleasant. But anyway, I'll take the writer's word for it. They were having real issues.
In Danish, it's called Snedroningen.
Okay, that's great. Well, they were having real issues with writing this movie, essentially. So along comes along comes the song Let It Go, which is, of course, sung by Elsa. It was composed by Lopez and Anderson Lopez, which forced a reimagining of Elsa as a more complex, vulnerable, and sympathetic character, and that was a breakthrough. Finally, they had a direction and could take the story in a way which worked with family-friendly Disney movie, and it wasn't going to be a really dark tale. Elsa's actually the one who's not a villain. Basically the songwriter saw Elsa not as a villain, but as a scared girl struggling to control and come to terms with her gift. Bobby and Kristen started talking about what it would be like to be Elsa, and this concept of letting out who she is, that she's kept to herself for so long, and she's alone and free, but then the sadness of the fact that at the last moment she's alone. So there you go. Let It Go changed Elsa into a person ruled by fear that Anna was ruled by her own love of other people and her own drive, which caused Lee to rewrite the first act, and then that rippled through the entire movie. So that was when we really found the movie and who these characters were. So there you are. That is essentially why Elsa is like this, because they had to try and make it so this movie worked, and also the Let It Go song. Which I don't know how they came up with that. Like, were they thinking, let's make Elsa a character who's sympathetic? And I went with that. I have to think that, because I don't know why you just write on the fly a song called Let It Go, just out of nowhere. But yeah, it's weird that the song obviously is the most famous thing to come out of this movie, and it is the movie that literally shaped the whole narrative as well. So yeah, that was interesting, and it picks up your point as to why they went down this path.
Well, it's kind of... Did you know that in... we never spoke about this when we did Toy Story, but in the original Toy Story, Woody was supposed to be like a villain.
Was he? Oh, yeah, no, we did. Didn't we talk about that? Yeah,
actually, we might have. I think possibly we did. Yeah, so basically, Woody was written to be like a kind of angry, malevolent force who was a bit like...
Yeah, he was manipulating the toys and not being exactly, a leader, but being like a person who, like, bullies them and orders them around and stuff. Yeah.
So clearly that's the trick with these 3D animated films. You just start off with somebody who you think is going to be a villain, and then just say, hey, what if we made them not a villain? And then that's how then boom, you got a film on your hands.
Well, especially if you're trying to do it like a Disney film that appeals to kids, obviously. Yeah, that is the way to do it, apparently. So yeah, you are right. I guess that is how Elsa got her powers. And that's why she's so afraid of concealing her powers, because you want to make her like sympathetic. And yeah, I guess I'll say actually they really do establish really well in the opening scenes Elsa's character and the burden of the responsibility of being queen and concealing her power. I think they actually do that really well. So that shot after when Elsa has her back to the door Anna has her back to the door, and you look at a wide shot of her room and it's all icy. It's like it's really good. That's really well done. Yeah, you can really.
Yeah, I guess the cold did bother her anyway.
Yeah, the cold did bother her anyway. I guess you thought that was a clever line, but it actually undercuts her whole difficulties, her whole struggles as a character. So there you go. Yeah. So I just want to talk about her reveal though. That she's I guess this Ice Queen who's got these special powers. So she flipped out on Anna, which I just think is a bit stupid. Like, she's not in a physical confrontation, and it's like, obviously, that's the big turning point in the movie. And you would think the most important thing I've got to do is not show everyone that I've got these powers where I can shoot ice out of my hands. And what does she do?
She shows everyone she's got powers where she can shoot ice out of her hands.
Rule number 1.
Yeah. I can't believe you asked that, Luke. It was very obvious that's what happened.
Yes. Cool. And here's the thing. Then she runs away. I can't imagine other members of the palace not knowing about her powers, like the servants and butlers and stuff, because they must know. Like, her parents must have informed people, to keep a lookout on this. And so, like, I don't know. It just seems like she runs away for very little reason. Like, she's the queen. She's got these fucking ice powers. Why is she running away? I don't know. It just I don't think it seems very well.
No, I think that's also true. Yeah, so basically the ultimate kind of conflict in terms of revealing this big thing and it being this horrible big secret, I guess, like big reveal, is all a bit contrived.
She doesn't receive that much backlash from it.
Yeah,
that's the issue, because there's that old British guy who says, "Oh, you're a sorcerer" or whatever. That's that, but she runs away before that happens.
Yeah,
and then after that, like she ices some water fountain, and then some mother moves her baby away from her.
Yeah,
and that's understandable, and that's really it, and that's all it takes. Maybe she's extremely fragile and extremely nervous about her powers.
Maybe she's a weak little snowflake, literally.
I don't know. It just seems like it doesn't take much to make her run away. Like, there should have been a bigger backlash to her powers than just I guess she got one mean comment and a woman backed away from her. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. Actually, it was all a bit tame.
And then Anna, after that, there's another issue I have. Sorry, she just leaves Han in charge. Like, she can do that. Apparently,
I was thinking that. Like, presumably they had some kind of person who, because obviously, if Elsa wasn't in charge, if she wasn't queen, and obviously Anna wouldn't have been in charge either, somebody must have been in charge, of Arendelle.
What was Cromwell's title? Whatever that was.
Lord Protector.
Yeah, Lord Protector. They would have one of those.
Yes.
And when
just
Anna,
like England should.
Yeah, when Anna leaves Han in charge, I was like, have you seen that meme from a guy saying, "I don't think you have the facilities for that"? Have you seen that?
No, I don't think so.
This isn't going to work.
You've ruined the meme. It's been ruined.
It has been ruined, but essentially, I don't think Anna had the capabilities or the facilities to do that. I don't think she could have done that. It's like, first of all, you're not the queen, and second of all, surely after Elsa, it falls to the Lord Protector after that.
Yeah.
I just think it seems a little bit far-fetched. Like, I'm running away from the castle. This random guy, he can be in.
It's a surprise. It's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Okay, is that something there?
That's from. I think it's from when Chancellor Palpatine gets made Chancellor.
Oh right, okay.
It's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. So it's like relevant.
You know far more about the Phantom Menace than me. What can I say?
It's because of prequel memes.
Okay. Yeah. No, to be fair, I do like prequel memes. I haven't seen that one though. Okay. So there you go. So then Elsa, she's running away, and. We'll talk about the Let It Go song in a bit and the whole empowerment theme, but it just seems, I don't know about you, Michael, but she just seems to become empowered, like out of nowhere, really. So she's feeling very depressed. She's running away. She's feeling very, very alone. And then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm embracing this. I like the cold. I'm gonna live in my ice palace. I'm gonna, stop all this bottled up fear I have and just let it out, or let it go, as it were.
Let it out. Let it out. Shout.
There's nothing really that triggers that, though, and that's the issue. She should be in a place where she hates her icy powers because she's been forced to run away. There should be something that happens that makes her go, you know what? Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, you're right. She does go like from being a bit of a pathetic loser to being proper.
Yeah, it just happens.
I don't know what the word is, but that.
It just happens so instantly, like just so quickly. It'd be nice if there was, an actual character arc instead of a character jump, like it seems like that was. I don't know. I mean, the movie's only an hour 40 long. You could have done another scene with her on a character arc. I'm not sure really how you do it. I'd have to think about it. But yeah, it just seemed to be a bit too quick how she goes from like 0 to now I'm living in this castle surrounded by ice and I can do anything. Look at how cool I am.
I'd do
literally
anything
in both ways. But yeah, so that's that. That's basically the issues I have with the first part of the movie. I think this about the structure, like the actual story. I'm fine with it. I don't have an issue with it. It's just the way they get to certain places, the way they execute it. It doesn't seem that well thought out, essentially.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the thing. I think a lot of kind of every major beat, in a way, for Elsa has issues, and that's kind of the problem, somewhat central to the film. Because, yeah, like the fact that, just kind of summarize or like review, the fact the nature of the powers and the way the powers are supposed to be a curse and all the implications of like, well, does that mean, no one's ever had these powers before? No one's ever learned to control these powers before? Has she never tried like experimenting with different emotions before? All those questions get opened up. Then you've got the fact that like the whole thing with how this then becomes this massive diplomatic issue and she has to run away. That all seems a bit nonsensical. And then, yeah, the fact that, she then just decides, to become a proper diva, also, yeah, it doesn't really have any foundation for it. I guess partially because, yeah, you don't really feel like you know her that well in the film. I think that's kind of the problem in a way, because she's like a character that you see through the eyes of Anna up until she runs away. And then...
Well, no, you can't... I'm going to disagree, because you do see her in her room. Like,
okay, yeah, no, okay. So when she's a kid...
Yeah, when she's a kid.
I guess that's the problem, yeah, like in a way. So, and then kind of as she stops hanging out with Anna, you become less familiar with her. And I think that's the problem, because it's like, when she's with Anna, like you understand it, and then obviously she moves away and she drifts away. And then like, I think what the film is supposed to be trying to communicate is how far she's drifted away, but we don't really feel like we know her. Like when they have that kind of awkward conversation at the party, like, hi, and it's like awkward. And it's kind of like, because you feel like you know Anna at this point, because she's been walking around singing all of her songs and stuff. Whereas Elsa's just been some loser in her room the whole time. So you don't really, relate to her. And then obviously at the end, I mean, suddenly you're supposed to be like, yeah, slay, queen. Okay,
so who's the main character in this movie? Because this is where this movie where it's kind of complicated about the narrative. Because is it Anna who's the main character, or is it Elsa?
Yeah, see, I think Anna is the main character, but I agree with you that it isn't clear.
Yeah, but because the main message, the main theme, I guess, is around Elsa.
Yeah,
I'd like her obviously being empowered. Like, oh, I'm going to let it go and all that. I'm not going to hide my powers anymore. And at the end, obviously, you get an act of true love. She saves the day and everything. Like, yeah, it does seem like I'm not really sure who the main character is, and I guess that's fine. I don't really have an issue with that. But yeah, it doesn't. It's not really like a traditional, I guess, Disney movie, because we spend most of our time with Anna, obviously, but then, like I said, Elsa is the one who the main message of the story is around.
Yeah.
I mean, Anna does... Let's talk about Anna, I guess, now, because she does have a bit of an arc, obviously.
Yes, yeah. So basically with Anna, the main thing I guess you'd say at first is like she obviously loves her sister, and you kind of got that younger sister thing going on where she obviously likes her sister a lot. And then also she's got like a few things going on, yeah. She loves her sister. She's also doesn't like being alone. I mean, it's not really that much done with that, although there is something where Christoph is like some people just want to be alone. She's like, no one should be alone. But, I mean, they don't really... I mean, she says that, and you kind of get the impression that's supposed to be like a flaw, like she doesn't understand personal space and stuff.
Yeah.
Which would be the logic, but then that never really... It was kind of weird. She's like, yeah, no one wants to be alone. You kind of get the impression that we're supposed to disagree with her when she says that, because obviously, Christoph is supposed to look reasonable when he says, some people just want to be alone. And when she says no one wants to be alone, she's like, oh, yeah, that's not the right attitude to have. And yet, again, they don't really build on that.
Yeah, what's her arc in this movie? So, jumping from that point, what does she show? I think she starts off, I guess, being naive about love and that.
Yeah.
And then she gets... Well, she kind of
the thing
stays
is,
that way.
What she really finds out is, like, basically... Like, there's kind of two different things going on with the whole love thing, because obviously you've got the fact that there's Christoph, who is a nice guy who she should love, but then on top of that, you've got the fact that ultimately what saves her is her love for Hannah. Nope. Elsa.
Did you just say Hannah?
Yeah, I don't know. Anna and Hannah, the crew. A love for Elsa, which obviously I guess is maybe the message there is supposed to be like, oh, you don't need a man, and that's supposed to be it, but that's not clear, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the messages, but again, the thing is with Anna, so she gets betrayed by Hans, so it's meant to show, oh, look, she was naive. You shouldn't be jumping into true love and all that, and I guess...
Why men great till they've gotta be great?
Mm-hmm. And but she doesn't do anything with that. It seems like she's pissed off that Han left her, obviously, but she doesn't reevaluate like her beliefs or anything. She just Olaf comes in to save her, and that's that. So she doesn't really have an arc. Like she learns a lesson, but you don't really see her learning that lesson.
Yeah.
And that, I think that is the issue. Like I don't know. She doesn't. Maybe she does have an arc, but it doesn't seem like she actually does. Like, I don't know. Obviously, she's in the movie because of the theme of sisterhood and all of that, and I guess you don't need no man kind of attitude. But I don't know really why she is. I guess she's just in the movie to try and facilitate Elsa's journey. I don't think she's got an actual purpose to herself. I guess, she's not marrying Hans, and it's like saying, oh, she shouldn't jump in, she shouldn't be so naive. But like I said, she doesn't really learn that lesson, to be honest. So I'm not really sure what she learns in this movie, to be honest. But yeah, that's all I got to say on Anna. It's confusing because she is kind of the main character, but she's kind of not at the same time.
No, yeah, I agree. Basically, basically, the thing is, I don't think either of the main characters really have that much in terms of how they change. It almost feels like, in some way, you've got two characters who are both being looked at, the two characters both starring in a film that's neither of their stories, is almost how it kind of feels. Like, because the thing is, like, what's weird is that you could easily see this being a film about how Elsa is viewed through the eyes of our main character Anna, and yet at the same time you also see it be about how Anna is viewed through the eyes of our main character Elsa, and it's kind of like both characters almost feel like they're secondary characters in another person's film. Is almost how I feel. Yeah.
So I think we should talk about the twist now, Michael. The twist in this movie.
So you know how I was like going through my notes and I was laughing, because sometimes I don't remember all the things I've like written down during my thingies. I wrote, I was totally down for Hans to win. I mean, I could see the logic. I think the reason I was down for it is because I liked his plan. I felt like everything was going really well for him.
Oh no, look, Michael. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to completely disagree with you there.
Okay, what do you think? So tell me your plan to take over Arendelle.
Well, Michael, what does he want to do?
Get paid? No, he wants to become like king by marrying.
So how's he going to do that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess so. Like maybe so. It's like okay. I see what you're saying.
What am I saying? Tell me.
So you're saying like obviously the fact that then Elsa will be Anna will be dead, and therefore he won't be able to marry anyone, which means he won't become a prince in his own right. Okay, you're not saying that.
No. So yeah, Anna's got to eventually go away somehow. But what's going to happen with Elsa?
She's going to get killed.
Yeah, get killed. So, what does Hans do that prevents Elsa from getting killed?
He locks her up. Oh wait, he stops. Oh, he stops the crossbow. Oh shit! I just realized that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was watching this movie for the second time. I was like, yeah, well, I know Hans is going to turn out to be the bad guy. So I'm like, okay, why did he just save Elsa? I was kind of confused because I was thinking, okay, this has got to be some sort of plan. He's going to have to maybe show the people that Elsa's still alive, but he just tries to kill her straight away. I don't get, like, that's the thing. He doesn't even, like, it's not even a question of, oh, I'm going to go there. We're going to try and rescue Elsa, bring her back, but we're actually going to kill her. He literally saves her life.
Yeah.
Like why? I don't. Okay, yeah. Why does he do that? Why does he try? Why does he literally save her life? She's about to die, and then he obviously steps in front of her. No. He aims the bow and arrow upwards, so it hits the top of the ice tower, and the chandelier comes crashing down. So Elsa gets knocked out or whatever. Then they bring Elsa back to the castle. Why not just have that guy shoot her? And then that's it. Then your problems are over. Then it's not even... That's the thing. It's not even him. He's not even implicated in this because it's the fucking British guy's men who wants to trade with Arendelle. He's
maybe okay. I have a possible thought. Okay, and this wasn't explained, so I'll say no matter what, you're right because it should have been explained. But maybe his thoughts were that if she was killed kind of tragically, in a manner that would have seemed preventable, then it would kind of make people feel much more sympathetic to... Okay, I've got kind of two thoughts. Number one, so it would have made people feel more kind of sympathetic to her, which would make it harder for him to take over.
Why would that make it harder, though? Because he's already with Anna. He's got the perfect excuse, basically, when he tells Anna, it's like, oh, well, you know... she unfortunately was shooting ice bullets at everyone, and one of the British guys then shot him.
I just realised, the fact that he was already due to be in a relationship with... Because I was thinking to myself, like, oh yeah, he didn't know that, you know, Anna was... Because my thoughts in my head, I was like, oh, he didn't know that Anna was going to die yet. So because he didn't know Anna was going to die, like, this is my thoughts, I just realised I was wrong. So I was like, oh, he didn't know Anna was going to die. And therefore... I was thinking to myself, oh, so he needed to keep her alive because, you know, until she's dead, he needs to pretend to be a good guy. And then I just realised that actually his original plan wasn't to kill Anna at all. His original plan was to marry Anna, and then...
dispose of Elsa.
Yeah, exactly. So
but literally, there's this guy in front of her doing it for him, and he steps in front and saves her life. Like, it is an unbelievably massive plot hole. Like, you don't have to... And obviously, the reason why they do it is because they're trying to make out... Well, they're trying to... You know, do the old switcheroo, like, oh, Hans is a bad guy. That's the twist.
Yeah.
But it's a shit twist because you have scenes of him obviously saving Elsa, being really polite and everything, and you can say, okay, he's polite because, you know, he's a sociopath and he wants to show that he's a king and everything. But there's this shot where he falls into the sea and he moves the boat up. You know, it's after he first meets Anna.
Yeah. I know people do bring that up.
Yeah, and he gives a smile. And again, that's bad. You know, it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, he's clearly seems like he's smitten with Anna. That seems ridiculous when nobody's watching him. But then he can just let fucking Elsa get shot. And then it's literally not his men doing it. He is not guilty at all. It's incredibly lucky for him. And he just rolls with it. Then he prosecutes the people who did it. If he wants to.
Yeah.
And then he says to Anna, oh, I'm so sorry about what happened, and he's got witnesses to back him up and everything, and like, yeah, it's just unbelievable that he does that. And again, the reason why it's in there is to try and pull the wool over the audience's eyes, but the twist doesn't work, the trick doesn't work if he does things which don't make sense. Throughout the movie, when you know how it's going to end in the end.
See, I was going to say, like, I can kind of forgive the whole him smiling in the boat thing because it's like, well, you know, I mean, maybe, like, you can be self-centered and yet still be kind of a nice person, and obviously, like, it
could be a smile of like, so she's easier than I thought, or something like that.
Yeah. There are explanations. I mean, that's the thing, because my thoughts, like, one of the criticisms a lot of people make of him is they say, like, why doesn't he kill Anna instead of just leaving her to die? And I've, like, my defense of him there has always been like, well, just because you're willing to let someone die Like, because for example, with the Elsa thing,
Well, that second one's explainable because if he kills Anna, like stabs a sword, like if people are going to find her corpse, like, well, who the fuck's done this then?
So basically, I mean, that's the thing. There are explanations there, but I agree. No, you're right. There is no real. I mean, you know what? I almost want to Google right now. Why does Hans stop Elsa getting shot? Let's see if anyone's. Why didn't Hans let Elsa die when he had a chance? Okay, let's see. This is on Reddit.
Okay.
I really want to know. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's a subreddit called Plot Holes. Okay.
Yes, this is a massive.
All right, you ready
hole.
for this?
All right.
Okay. This might be it. We'll see about this.
Okay.
And I think this could make sense. This person did a good job. I mean, this should have been explained, but I think this is a reasonable explanation we can have. It was believed that Elsa had the power to reverse the endless winter Arendelle was trapped in. Her perceived ability to control the weather saved her. Hans was desperate for his own place, but he wanted the thriving and wealthy port of Arendelle, not the iceberg Elsa had inadvertently turned it into. Hans needs her to turn it back. So in other words, Hans thought that Thor, being the operative
that's
word,
a good attempt.
Yeah, so that would be an explanation.
But it doesn't make sense.
It would have, I mean, it makes sense, but it would have to be communicated.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, why does that make sense?
Because he tries to kill her later on when it's still in a fucking ice sheet across Arendelle. What's changed?
I think maybe he was like...
He's under the impression when he tries to kill her.
You know what? I don't know.
That the ice sheet is going to go once Elsa dies. So, it's a nice attempt, but still, because he does exactly the same thing later, and Arendale's still covered in ice. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't know, I mean, you know what, Luke? There's probably some other very contrived explanation.
No, there isn't.
There probably is some other very contrived explanation
the writers,
for why he didn't...
They got too smart. They were like, haha, we're really going to try... Oh, they're going to be so confused when Hans turns out to be the bad guy. Because he's literally saved Elsa. Look at how good he is. Oh, they're going to be so like, huh? When they find out. But yeah, it's like...
you're right. I mean, I tried my best, Luke. I tried and I failed. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I didn't try at all. I just Googled. But,
but you don't need to try, Michael. Stop shilling for this movie.
No, you're right. Yeah, I will stop.
We're trying to get paid by Paramount, not Disney.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's get it right.
Disney, more like miss me.
Okay, by the way, on the Prince Hans, but this is the last we'll say on this. It was another breakthrough, by the way, was the developing plot twist that Prince Hans, having not even been in the first drafts, would be revealed as the true villain only near the end. So obviously the first breakthrough was Elsa is the sympathetic character, and now Hans is the villain. Del Veltro said, if we were going to make the ending so surprising, you had to believe at one point that Hans was the answer. When he's not the answer, it's Kristoff.
More like the Hansa.
If you can get the audience to leap ahead and think they have figured it out, you can surprise them by turning it the other way. Well, I don't think the audience were leaping ahead, because everything that Hans did, including saving Elsa's life when he didn't have to, showed that, he was the good guy. Like, I would... tell me, Mr. Del Vecchio, why did Hans save Elsa? What part of the plan was it? And maybe we've been talking about this for like 5 minutes, but I think it's a really big plot hole, and I don't really like. Obviously, the reason why it's in there is because to get you to to make you surprised. It's to subvert your expectations, if you will.
Yeah, I love when my expectations are subverted.
My expectations were so subverted. It was incredible. But then you realise, actually, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like another movie that we have reviewed recently. That is made by Disney.
I don't know what you're talking about, Luke.
Yeah. Anyway. So, part of the... let's get on now. Well, that's enough of the plot, really. It's not... I mean, it's the old thing about saving Anna is a kiss of true love, and it's, it's not actually a kiss, is it? It's a gesture of true love, or an act of true love.
Yeah, act of true love,
yeah. Yeah, act of true love, yeah. And obviously they save the day, and Hans gets dumped in the river, and everyone's happy again, and, Arendale's back to normal. It all ends like you would imagine this Disney movie would. But let's get on to now, Michael. I guess, woke Disney, that's the best way to phrase it. And this is a good segue, because obviously we talked about the fact that the Prince Hans, he's actually the villain. Wow, that's an old twist, because obviously, normally in Disney classics, like, say, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, what used to happen is the prince used to come along, used to save the day, used to kiss the girl, and they lived happily ever after. Obviously, the prince in this movie is the bad one, and the sisters, who are two women, obviously, are the I know, crazy, are the good characters, and also the whole thing about you can't marry someone you just met, which Christopher makes fun of Anna of. Obviously, the Disney classics like Cinderella, like Sleeping Beauty,
like Shrek,
The Little Mermaid as well. I think. That was what used to happen. So yeah, Disney again, kind of making fun of itself, I guess. Maybe not making fun of itself, but here's the thing: that back in the day, it used to happen. Like, literally, you know the story about Henry VIII and Anne. It was the fourth.
Anne Boleyn.
No, it was the fourth.
No, Anne of Cleves. Oh yeah, and he got married to her and he didn't know what she looked like.
Yeah. He'd seen a painting of her, so he's like, "Oh, she's pretty fit." Comes in, realizes she's ugly, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not marrying that." And they were together for like 6 months. So they it literally happens to an even larger extent in real life. And I assume this was, I don't know, medieval times, maybe a bit later, maybe like the 17th century, I don't know, maybe a bit later than Henry VIII. But yeah, I can imagine, yes, people around this time, royal families, did just marry the person that they fell in love with instantly. And it sometimes wasn't even for love. It was because of family connections. Maybe that was actually the case most of the time. Believe it or not. So yeah, I get what they're trying to do. You know, make fun of their old like Cinderella and Little Mermaid. Oh, how can you love someone when you just met them for one day? It's ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. But that kind of stuff did used to happen in the time period that this movie is set in. So I just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's one critique of woke Disney. The other critique, obviously, is it's not a critique. I guess it's hey, guess what? The villain now is it's the prince. So what do you make of that, Michael?
Well, isn't that a bit like what they've already done with Gaston?
What did they do with Gaston?
Well, I mean, with Gaston, you got like this guy who's like really charming and handsome, and then like he's like the big hero, and then he goes to slay the beast, but it turns out he's the bad guy. So I mean, it's not quite as extreme. I feel like it was kind of like baby steps. Like I feel like Gaston's like proto Hans. That's my theory.
Yeah. I mean, I actually watched the Lindsay Ellis video.
Yeah. It's like the "thanks, I hate it" one. That's the phrase I associate with it.
No,
thanks, I hate it.
No, it wasn't. Well, wasn't that about Game of Thrones? That video?
No, I didn't think so.
Anyway.
Wait, she made a film called Woke. She made something called Woke Disney, didn't she?
Yeah, I don't think it was. Maybe it was Woke Disney. I think it was a video where she talks about how villains weren't actually villains anymore. Villains are dying off, and the real conflict is internal within the main character, which is, of course, what happened with Elsa. You know, she's fighting the fact that she doesn't feel comfortable with herself, and, you know, she's got a conceal, don't feel, and all that shit. And, you know, there's not really a real villain apart from Hans, and when it is Hans, it's like, comes out of nowhere, it's like a twist. There's not a classic, traditional Disney villain. That was the point of her video, and that was becoming more and more likely. It was increasing more and more throughout the years, and she pointed to Frozen as one of those movies where that happens. But yeah, in this movie again, it's like, I mean, yeah, I guess it's a nice twist. It's a nice twist. Oh, look, the prince is the bad guy. Very progressive, very woke, as they say. Because, you know, the women don't need no men, all of that. They don't need a man to be saved. I guess Mulan had that as well back in the 90s. Yeah. But yeah, guess.
Let's get down to business.
Yeah, that's the message, I guess. Disney princesses, they have in this movie, they don't have a villain that hates her and then she's saved and falls in love with the prince. It's the opposite. There's not really a villain, and if there is a villain, it's the prince, and actually falling in love was actually a trick all along. Yeah, there you go. I do have something to say on that, which is from a little-known TV station, don't know if you've heard it, called Fox News.
Oh yeah, Fox News.
Fox News, so I remember this.
I feel like I remember some Fox News stuff about Frozen.
Yeah. It was a classic from them, doing their all right-wing culture war thing. Here we go. So, in a timely segment airing 14 months after Frozen hit theatres, Fox and Friends Steve Doocy wonders whether a film like Frozen is problematic, as it is empowering girls but turning on men into fools and villains. So,
it's true, yeah.
What do you think of that, Michael?
Well, I mean, I think so. There is an argument to be made. The thing is, like, I would point out, like, men being like bumbling klutzes has been like a thing since sexism against women was still a thing. You know, remember when sexism against women was that? No, what I'm saying was like, I would say, if anything, like the stereotyping of men as like doofuses is not something which is a reaction to.
No, it's a very like 90s kind of thing.
Yeah, it's thing.
Something that had its genesis in the 90s, I feel like.
Yeah, so I'd say it's been around for a while, but like ultimately, I also get like Hunchback of Notre Dame that has like a man as the villain in that, like Rollo's, is his name Rollo? Probably not.
Yeah, but the key is though in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the protagonist is a male.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And this time you've got the contrast between. So here we go.
I think it's stupid though, because obviously, I mean, the thing is there are good men, there are good women. And there are bad men.
Let me just explain to you his thoughts. Ducey then introduces a clip where Frozen's Kristoff, voiced by Jonathan Groff, jokes about guys picking their noses, and Hans reveals his climactic dastardly plan. And he says, "So what kind of message is that sending to our kids and to all of us?" So there you go.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I appreciate it. I don't want women to have unrealistic standards for a man who doesn't pick his nose and eat it.
Okay. Yeah. But basically, he had a conversation with Penny Young Nance, CEO of Concerned Women for America. Ducey reveals that the message is far more terrifying than that. They even have a name for it: the Frozen effect. According to Nance, this movie is just not good for boys to see. Sure, the entire world celebrated Frozen as a turning point for impressionable young girls because of its groundbreaking and subversive portrayal of women for the very first time as headstrong heroes and not the damsel in distress looking for a man to save them. But Nance and Ducey are all like, yeah, but what happens when those girls need to be saved? I mean, they're girls. They're going to need to be saved at some point, right?
You can't argue that.
Yeah. And it's not Disney, it's Hollywood in general, Nance says. It's often sent the message that men are superfluous. They're stupid. They get in the way. And if they contribute to anything to a family, it's a paycheck. So there you go.
Yeah, well, you know, those bloody feminists always arguing that men just need to provide all the money and go out and be the breadwinners.
It's not good social science, Nance said, unaware of the irony. When we bring our daughters to see Frozen or whatever the movie is, we often have our little boys sitting there. Is this message helpful? We want them to know that they're essential. We want to raise heroes. We want to raise, and here's the great quote, real men. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like, ultimately, so portraying men as incompetent is a good example of like kind of faux woke power feminism that's
yes,
not actually real feminism. So yeah, like so in other words, I mean, I'm sure there's a phrase that I remember seeing when I read a book once called the third wave feminist, I don't know, it was called something like that. And basically it said like it summarized kind of 90s post-feminism girl power. Hey, it's funny, we were speaking about this like just last week. And it described it as girls rule, boys drool. And I think like that's kind of true, yeah. So in other words, like the kind of not very intelligent but sort of just basic feminism of aren't girls great is often counteracted.
Yeah, what's that song I always think, Who Runs the World? Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously the contrast, well, that song and that girls rule, boys drool is making is, you know, girls are the smart, savvy ones, boys are the dumb, brain dead ones, and, you know, girls are the ones who are really in charge. Which obviously isn't the case at all.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, he's not wrong to say that films will often portray men as like incompetent and not very good at things. He's just wrong to think that in any way is indicative of a genuine inequality experienced by men.
Yes.
So there we go. Well done.
Well done. Yeah, you summed that up well. So yeah, I just thought we'd focus on that again. Like, yeah, it's. I mean, here's the thing: is this going to change attitudes about women? Is this going to change young girls' opinions of themselves? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But at the end of the day, even if the prince did save them, they would still get to live in a castle with a bunch of servants, like old Disney movies.
Yeah, that's pretty hot.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I guess the power structure of you know, that you got the powerful people on top, everyone else below, that still remains. And I guess that's essential to every Disney movie because it does surround royalty, and you can't, like we talked about with The Lion King, you can't really portray royalty in a bad way. But yeah, there you go. Because I know there was a lot of talk actually, and we didn't really pick up on it when we talked about The Lion King, about how the hyenas were like the underclass, and like, you know, they were the ones getting fucking stood on by the lions, who are the ruling class. It's like, and yeah, you're meant to cheer for the lions and all that, and I was like, oh yeah, kind of. But again, like, it's if you're doing a movie about characters that are princes and princesses and kings and queens, then obviously, you know, you're gonna you're going to favour them in any situation. Anyway, this movie doesn't really deal with class issues, but yeah, I just thought I'd point that out.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, more woke Disney stuff, Michael. Maybe not woke Disney, though, because this is an interpretation. So,
Oh, yeah.
I get Wikipedia actually has a good phrase for this, which I shall use because I literally, to my
Because you're unoriginal.
to my detriment, I literally just wrote gay stuff, which is not the best thing to.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's accurate. It's definitely gay, and it is stuff.
Yeah, I'm just going down here. It's like parallels to. Here we go. Perceived LGBT parallels.
Okay.
So there was quite a bit of that in this movie. So several viewers outside the film industry, such as evangelical pastors, commentators, argue that Frozen promotes normalization of homosexuality, while others believe that the main character Elsa represents a positive image of LGBT youth, viewing the film and the song Let It Go as a metaphor for coming out. So that was something I immediately picked up on when I saw this movie for the first time. Because that song is like, I mean...
Conceal, don't feel, pray the gay away.
When she... Not that bit, but when she says, I'm not going to... I'll get the lyrics up here, because I
Said, I'm not gonna suck cock. I'm gonna eat pussy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here we go. Let it go, let it go. That perfect girl is gone.
Oh,
Here I
yeah,
stand in
that's
the light of
true,
day,
yeah.
let the storm rage on. Basically, I don't care. This perfect girl that you know, I guess... You think of me, I'm gone, I am who I am, all of that stuff, which obviously is, can be very empowering, and I think the song does a good job of that. So, yeah, essentially, Michael, there were some issues, though, that, like I said before, pastors had with this message, this interpreted message, I shall say. So, Pastor Kevin Swanson of the Reformation Church
Joe Swanson
said the Frozen was very evil, and that Disney was one of the most pro-homosexual organizations in the country. Swanson said, you wonder sometimes if maybe there's something very evil happening here. I wonder if people are thinking, I think this cute little movie is going to indoctrinate my 5-year-old to be a lesbian, or treat homosexuality or bestiality in a light sort of way. Was he referencing Kristoff and the Reindeer, though?
Probably, yeah.
He also characterized Disney as a satanic company, saying, if I was the devil... I love that line. If I was the devil, what would I do to really foul up an entire social system and do something really, really, really evil to 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds in Christian families around America? If I was the devil, I would buy Disney in 1984. Okay.
Yeah, 1984 because of George Orwell, obviously.
Yeah, NCR, National Catholic Register film critic Stephen Bradenus has argued the film is full of gay cultural themes. These include the solitary nature of the protagonist Elsa, her lack of interest in her male suitors, and the Oscar-winning song Let It Go, which shows Elsa celebrating her acceptance of her true identity. Hint, hint, she's gay. So, yeah, I think, here's the thing, I don't think they're that wrong about it. Because I did get that impression.
Yeah, you're right. They are destroying in society and they're of the devil. You're right.
I didn't mean that. Obviously, I meant I think this maybe was a metaphor or an allergy.
Al Jazeera?
Yeah, an Al Jazeera for being gay and coming out. So, when asked about the perceptions of a homosexual undertone in the film, Lee said, we know what we made, but at the same time I feel like once we hand the film over, it belongs to the world, so I don't like to say anything and let the fans talk. I think it's up to them. She also mentioned that Disney films were made in different eras, and were all celebrated for different reasons, but a 2013 film would have a 2013 point of view. So, yeah. Who knows? I guess you can interpret it that way, and I certainly think like the lyrics, some of the lyrics in the Let It Go are so like suggestive
on the nose.
of that. Yeah, kind of on the nose. But maybe
I get it.
What's a level down from on the nose?
On the lips.
Couldn't keep it in. Heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in. Don't let them see. Be the good girl. You always have to be. Concealed. Don't feel. Don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go. Let it go. Cannot look back anymore. I don't care what they're going to say. That's a key
I'm
line.
gay. I don't care what they're going to say. I'm gay.
I'm gay.
I don't want to be told to fuck girls. I just want to fuck men each and every day. I don't want to be told that I'm gay. We all like the dick occasionally. Do you remember that song, Luke?
Yeah, didn't you play that as a fucking cold open once or something?
I played it as one of the... Yeah, you're right. That's crazy. What a great bit of reincorporation.
Okay, so yeah, I get... So to sum up on the Disney woke stuff, I don't know if the gay, the gay interpretation of this movie Elsa's actually could be seen as being, someone who is a lesbian and she's coming out. and her powers are like her sexuality. Yeah, I guess you could see it that way. And I certainly, with that line again, I'll repeat it. Be the good girl you always have to be, and I don't care what they're going to say. Yeah, it seems very, very likely that is the case. So yeah, anything to say on that? Before we move on to the songs?
No. I mean, yeah, you basically covered it all. I don't think there's anything else to say.
Okay. So, you got anything else to say, by the way, on the, girls don't need to be saved?
No.
Anything to say in this movie at all, Michael?
I mean, yeah, basically the girls need to be saved. I mean, it is ultimately just kind of generic, like, being a girl is good, it's great. I mean, the thing is, like, what I will say about this is that I don't think this film needed to be any better than just generic power feminism. And I do think, yeah, there is an argument to be made that showing men as incompetent is one of the worst aspects of power feminism, and that, like, it shouldn't need to be like you need to put one group down in order to put another group up. Having said that, I also think it doesn't really matter, because ultimately there's plenty of other stuff which, elevates men. So, you know what, maybe we can start to worry about how Frozen portrays men when men stop being so powerful. And when we finally destroy patriarchy, then we can worry about how Frozen portrays men as kind of stupid.
So anyway, when are we going to do that?
I was planning on doing it I'm a bit
Corbyn
busy.
said that in 2030 he wants there to be no gender pay gap.
Wow, that's optimistic. I mean, but actually, if you account for all the reasons why the pay gap exists, then there is no gender pay gap. If you account for maternity leave and differences in bonuses and the fact that sometimes women do jobs that are exactly the same but they have different names in their pay list, if you account for all of those things, then there is no gender pay gap.
Okay. Well,
that's my impression of somebody who's watched a video that disproved the gender pay gap with facts and logic.
Yes. Okay. So we shall move on now to the songs movie. So I guess you can't expect Disney to be that extremely progressive.
Yeah.
It's just like they're like kind of progressive. It's like kind of touching it. Like, oh yeah, Elsa, she's, look at how accepting she is of her identity. Yeah, look how empowered she is. Oh look, but women, they don't need no men. Like, yeah, just not really controversial statements really at all. In the year 2013, as we said,
in the current year.
Yes, the culture had changed back. Like I said, I think it was around 2012. So yeah, it's nothing really. They're not really pushing the boat out. Even though maybe they were. Maybe this was one of the first films of its kind to do that. So maybe I'm looking back now and thinking, yeah, maybe it was one of the first films, and nowadays stuff like that is much more common. So maybe I'm being a bit too harsh on the movie. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, shall we move on to the songs, Michael?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
you sound incredibly enthusiastic about this.
No, I am actually quite excited, actually. You know what? I just...
The Ice song.
Ice song... Wait, so actually, I'll say I liked the... this is going way to the beginning, but I did like the music for the little title card where it went... Although it did sound a bit Native American, kind of. Like, it didn't sound very... It didn't sound like
Scandinavian?
Norwegian. Yeah, Scandinavian.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. Like, if you're watching that, if you just listen to that, you're like, oh, I'm going to watch, Moana or Pocahontas or Brother Bear. But instead, anyway. But the
Moana's completely different to Native American, Polynesian and Native American.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, it's the same.
Be careful. Okay.
No. But it is like, I guess so it's kind of like, because the thing is, the reason why I say Moana is because Moana specifically has like an opening song that like sounds a lot like that. Like it's like I can't remember how it goes, like like the civilization music, which is from Africa. I guess what we realised is that basically it's all over the place. But either way, it didn't sound European. Speaking of songs not sounding like they're from the right culture, the Ice song sounded really Irish.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fine song.
Like, oh, we're chopping up our ice and we're going to take you to the ice place.
Decent first song. Establishes it's a musical right off the bat, and it mentions ice, which, as we know, is going to be important throughout the movie.
I felt like maybe the lyrics were a bit boring because they were just talking about ice. But you know what? Whatever.
Do you not find ice exciting?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, check what's a good song about ice. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen.
That's great. Well done.
Ice is back with a brand new...
Mission,
yeah. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Anyway, next. What's the next
song? Do you
want
to build a snowman?
Yeah, I like that song. I think it's kind of cute and delightful.
It's nice.
and I thought, it's kind of a good job at showing like the characters, the progression of the plot, kind of in terms of the time. Like it was a good montage way of showing the progress of time.
Classic,
so well done.
Yeah,
and it is a catchy song. Like it's probably, I would say, the most catchy song, and it's got a very distinct kind of melody.
Well,
like,
I'm not sure about most
build a
catchy.
snowman? Well, okay, so I'll say I personally found it to be the most catchy, and it's like the song. For me, it is the biggest earworm of the.
Oh wow, no, I mean I don't agree with that.
Well, for me, it's like I always remember it. Do you want to build a snowman? I don't know why they.
Do you remember the next line?
Everyone's American.
That's the real test. Do you want to?
And ride our bikes around the hall.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the way like each line ends like with really high note.
Yeah,
I do like that. So yeah, no, like it's very catchy.
Because you gotta have high notes.
So next one. The First Time in Forever.
Didn't like that song.
Yeah, I put okay. It's like 6 out of 10.
I said I didn't care for it. I just thought, I don't know. It's just like, and I guess the only other thing that's worth bringing up about that one, if I remember correctly, is that like literally her motivation, like the song suddenly switches from just being like about wanting to see loads of people, and then suddenly it's like, maybe I'll meet the one, and it's like, okay, I mean, I don't know, because you mentioned how the Let It Go song, Elsa's suddenly changes like her character and her priorities and all that kind of stuff just because the song exists. In this one, it's like, again, they're like, oh, it's a song.
Yeah,
she could just randomly start singing about wanting to fall in love.
Yeah, the random change as well does kind of undercut like women don't need no men to save them kind of narrative. It undercuts it a bit because obviously people like falling in love, and just because you fall in love, it doesn't mean that you're not a feminist.
Yeah. Just because you stay at home and have kids doesn't mean you're not a feminist.
Yeah, I know, but it you're right. It does kind of like randomly veer in that direction. It's like maybe I'll meet the one, and then for the next 2 minutes you sing about how you want to fall in love. It's like, well, your priorities have changed a bit now.
Yeah. Although, did you like how she said nothing's in my way while running forward with her eyes closed, and then she bumped into something that was in her way?
That's
pretty clever.
That's why this movie made 1.2 billion. What can I say?
Yeah. How do they got this stuff?
So next one is Love is an Open Door. Life can be so much more. That's those lyrics. It's just love is an open door.
I liked the feel of that song. I liked the kind of how catchy it was. Like
it's catchy. Yeah,
it's like the life's been just a series of doors slamming in my face, and now I want to get out of this place. I don't remember how it goes, but no, I like. Yeah, it's like it's very love is an open door. Yeah. It's a real belter. That's
it's nice and upbeat.
Yeah, that one. It's not an earworm. But it's like, it's one which I like hearing other people sing. Like, I personally wouldn't want to sing it because I feel like I couldn't do it justice. And that's something which, as you know from having heard me sing, something that matters to me a lot is, can I do a song justice?
Yeah.
And I will only sing a song if I know I can give it 110% and really add something to it. And I just feel like with that song, you really need to be able to just belt it out. Like, it's a very technically demanding song. I think that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So, next up is the famous one. Let it go. Let it go.
I mean, that's the big one.
It became a meme, Michael.
It's
I literally saw like a meme of it like last week.
Yeah,
Elsa singing "Let It Go." Like it's still used in 2019. Incredibly famous. What can I say?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. Like people love it. The thing is, like at the end of the day, I mean, I don't find it very like original, or I don't find it like the chord progression is kind of just very generic. Happy pop song, power pop song, power ballad, I don't know. But like for me, like I don't dislike it at all. I don't really think of it as like this great song because in my mind I just think it kind of just feels, I mean obviously it's very overplayed, so it'll be kind of difficult to have an objective opinion on this all. Yeah. But it is like it sounds very sort of just generic song. Okay. Whereas I think the other two songs I liked, the Snowman and the Love is an Open Door, felt kind of like different. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think those two, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, Love is an Open Door, they do sound quite generic. They like, what I described them both as like catchy, like, nice.
Okay, yeah.
Beat, okay. It's like, it makes sense. Do You Want to Build a Snowman goes in a bit of a different direction at the end, to like Love is an Open Door, but Let It Go, that is I think pretty different. And I mean, it won an Academy Award for a reason, I think.
Well, everything wins an Academy Award nowadays.
I think, it does its job. It's meant to be empowering, it's meant to be about the release, about the liberation. And I think the lyrics and the beat and, I guess just the whole song, it really, really works. And I think it's really good. And I think, obviously, it's become incredibly popular. Everyone knows it. I think, like you said, if you were to view it or listen to it for the first time from an objective perspective, you're like, yeah, that's really good. It accomplishes what you need to do for the character at that time, even though I think... Like
said, from a narrative perspective, it does work very well.
Yeah, narrative perspective, it works very well, even though they should have set up something before she makes that jump, but the actual song does its job very well, very memorable, and I think it's a really, really good song.
Yeah, it's a good song, and I never, ever want to hear it ever again.
Okay, so next up, Olaf, and the song about the summer.
It's, okay, so, like, I feel like we've used this term before. So the obvious example, the analogy to it I can think of is the Pink Elephants on Parade. And it's not as mind-boggling ridiculous as that, but it is kind of what you get in a lot of these musicals for kids, is like that random song usually by a weird, quirky side character, which contributes nothing to the plot.
Yes.
And has no reason to be there. And obviously, in the case of Pink Elephants on Parade, obviously it's not by a random quirky side character, but it's again still completely random. Like someone's just like, hey, what if there was like some elephant who got drunk and they dreamt about like pink elephants and they just like went crazy. And this one was like, what if there was like a snowman and he wanted like to go somewhere really sunny and he really loved the summer, but he didn't know that would cause him to melt. Like it does nothing, but it's like, it's fine. I mean, the thing is, okay, I'll say this. I don't think the melody is good in that I literally cannot remember what the melody was. I don't think it's not like so number one, it's not an earworm because I can't even remember how it goes. Number two, it's not the kind of song you want to sing yourself. The lyrics are actually, I think, like quite clever in the way like it kind of, he says like, winter's a nice time for a cuddle, but in the sun I'd be a very happy snowman.
Yeah.
But so like, I mean, the lyrics are like clever and like they do a good job at actually contributing to the overall joke, but it's also not. No one sat there singing the Olaf Poe song. Yeah,
no, this is what is referred to as a filler, I believe.
Yes.
It's like, it's been quite a while since Let It Go, and there's only one song after it, so we need to put in a song in this gap. We can have Olaf sing, the standard comic relief character, because nothing big is happening at the stage. We can just have him sing a little song about the summer. Nothing really happens in it. Yeah, he's just, he wants to be in the summer, but he'll melt. And they have that joke about 5 times in there, and then it ends. So yeah, just a classic comic relief filler song, I guess. Yeah. So next one, Fixer Upper.
He's a bit of a fixer upper. Okay, that's a good song actually. Like
But here's the thing: they randomly. I talked about Let It Go and how it's good for the narrative. And this one, the song's okay, but they're trying to marry Christopher and Anna, the trolls. And by the way, why the fuck were the trolls in this? It just seems quite weird that they were in this movie at all. I mean, I don't know. I expect Anna to be a bit freaked out by that when she saw them, but I don't know. Maybe magic's more common in this kingdom than it should be. But I don't know why they're trying to marry Christopher and Anna. Obviously, they don't succeed, and then it just goes nowhere.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, in the end, they do get married. I mean, I guess no, but they don't necessarily. But there's an implication of there's an implication of them possibly being romantic together, I think. But I don't know. It's not really actually. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it is. You're right. I think maybe what they should have done. I mean, obviously, I know they wanted to do the whole, big girls are doing it for themselves. Well, they say no, sisters are doing it for themselves. But maybe it would have worked better if they had actually hinted a bit more at the Christoph, or like actually ended with more of the Christoph Anna romance angle, and then that way the song wouldn't feel quite as unnecessary. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say. Yeah,
no, fair enough. I agree. But
I would say I did like the kind of tune. I was like, a bit of a fixer up. I mean, I don't remember the lyrics, so again, it's not going to be the kind of song I sing, but I did kind of enjoy like the upbeatness of it. So well done them.
Yeah.
Good jab.
No, I agree. I guess not much else to say about that. Good lyrics, just I don't get the point of it. But yeah, good beat as well. So I think we should now conclude, Michael. Unless you got anything else to say.
No, so I wanted to talk about
the animation, perhaps?
Yeah, so a few things I wanted to talk about. Okay, so number one, the animation was good.
Yeah, it was fine, yeah.
Mostly my focus was going to be on how attractive the women are, but in addition to that, one of the things I remember is, like, one of the things I kind of appreciate about this film is apparently, like, one of the impetuses for making this film was that they were like, hey, what haven't we really got down in terms of animation? And they were like, we haven't really got snow down. And I'm like, well, let's make a film and work, and maybe that's the reason why it had such a huge budget, because basically, as far as I've heard, this was like from a Reddit movies sort of subreddit post, which I tend to trust, and it's basically saying that they were like, oh, we want to animate snow. We're not very good at animating snow, so we'll make a film which is very much set in snow, and we'll really put our balls to the wall, making sure we get this snow completely on point. And there was like a thing like all the different reels of like, so like obviously with CGI, the main thing they have to get down is like the physics. That's like the big thing. And they basically had all of these different renderings they'd done for like showing the different physics and like trying to work it out. So I appreciate all the work they did. And I think like ultimately one of the nice things I think it's good when these companies do it is if they're like, hey, this particular technology hasn't really been worked out. We don't really have a good grasp on how to do this. So let's make a big film and use it as an opportunity to work out all this stuff. Like, as much as I personally dislike the Hobbit films, I mean, at least Peter Jackson was like, let's try and advance some technology that everyone's going to hate. So you got to appreciate the effort. Of course, this is assuming that they actually were able to contribute to filmmaking as a whole and they didn't just keep all of their secrets to themselves, which why would they do that? I also want to say, it wasn't the humor. It wasn't very funny, basically. I mean, I had like a few things specifically written down, but I think the overall point for the humor is just like, ultimately with a lot of these kind of kids animated films, the thing, and I think this is actually a big point, the thing that kind of makes it interesting for adults is the humor. Like that's quite a common thing in a lot of, especially more modern kids animated films. It's like you watch them and, the kids are enjoying them, but there'll often be some kind of clever jokes which the adults can laugh at. There weren't any in this, so I think that's kind of disappointing from a adult perspective. Like I'm pretty sure in the other, like a lot of the Pixar films, there's actual funny things that I as an adult can enjoy. I think that's even the case for a fair few of the kind of 2D Disney films like Lion King. I'm sure there were some jokes in there which were like, clever that an adult can pick up on. In this, there weren't really. I mean, all the jokes were pretty like surface level, not very clever or funny. And,
I agree. Yeah.
And finally, I just wanted to say a few things about the characters. So number one, Olaf reminds me of Sid the Sloth.
Yes.
Number two, that line from the Westleton guy where he says, to exploit their riches. Oh, did I say it out loud? It felt like a real like cringy wah, wah, wah moment. I was like, why did they? It was like it was so unnecessary for him to say that. I don't know why he did. And it felt like almost like a parody. Like
well, that's what his character kind of was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. So I get that, but it just felt like, I don't know. It felt like so over the top. And I just thought to myself, like, I don't know, if you're going to try and be clever in other ways, why have the character that, because like no one actually talks like that. And obviously, yeah, I know, like, well, it's a cartoon film. Obviously people talk slightly weird, but it just felt like so weird.
You're really picking nits here, Michael, I have to say.
And finally, I did want to say just like Anna is written to be like really quirky. Kind of like she's written to be like so
adorable,
so like lol random. Yeah, adorable. That's it. Yeah, I just thought that was funny. Like I bet, I don't know, all the girls who go on Tumblr probably watching this going, Anna's so me, because I drool in my sleep and have messy hair and eat lots of chocolate.
Okay, great stuff. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the humor. It's very surface level.
She's the Sarah Millican of animated Disney princesses.
Yeah, not very. The humor, it's not that smart, is it? It's not anywhere near. I know you mentioned Toy Story before, but it's not anywhere near how good Toy Story is. Yeah. So anyway, shall we conclude, Michael?
Yes, we should conclude me.
I shall go first because you talked for a bit. So, and I feel like I don't conclude that often first, so I'll go.
Yeah, I'll forgive you.
So, Frozen. I mean, the plot, I guess, it's fine. Again, I'm really not sure really what the character arc was for Anna and Elsa. Her character arc is just like a jump, and then they have to just deal with that, basically deal with Elsa running off. And the twist with Hans, I mean, there's a plot hole in there which we spent quite a lot of time covering, but it needs to be mentioned again because it is just a truly awful plot hole. And obviously the message at the end about, love and all that is typical Disney message, but instead of love between a man and a woman, and a relationship is two sisters. So
when a man loves a woman,
that's a bit different. And I guess it has maybe a feminist message attached to that too, along with the fact that it's also has this stuff about, girls don't need men to be saved, even though, like I said before, that did happen again with Mulan back in the 90s, so it's not that original. Also, the stuff about, you can't just marry someone you just met, making fun of the Disney, classic Disney movies, riffing on those, and also, I guess, with, you don't need a man to be saved, kind of, riffing on Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and all that, who basically the whole movie is about, you meet a prince, you meet a man, on day one, you marry them, and they basically save you. That's literally what happens with Cinderella. She's taken in from slavery because of a prince loves her. So this is just a complete opposite to that. So yeah, and actually, you know what? Cinderella, wasn't it released 2 years later, the live action version?
Yes.
Yeah, and that movie didn't have that differing a message to the original. I don't believe, because I think I would have heard about it if it did. I haven't seen it, but I imagine if there was I've heard about, for example, in Aladdin, you got Jasmine who sings a feminist power ballad.
Yeah.
That obviously that doesn't happen in the original, but there's nothing like that in the new Cinderella compared to the old Cinderella.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And obviously we have to talk about LGBT thing. Yeah, I think it does sound pretty much like that's what they were going for, but I don't know. It does. The song "Let It Go" does. It does portray Elsa's, I guess, liberation very well. And although, yes, you may hate the song, a lot of people do, I think it's a very good song. And yes, I am trying to judge it objectively in that regard. And overall, I think the music, it's decent. It's, I can't, 7 out of 10, I'll give it 7 out of 10 for the music, not the worst, better than average, but not the best. And yeah, so this movie was an absolute phenomenon, but here's the thing, I think it just shows how far Disney have fallen. Because I was looking at the the critical reception for this. Yeah. And there was critics saying, this could be the start of a second Disney Renaissance. This is amazing. It's got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm like, this movie's nowhere near like Aladdin.
Yeah.
Or maybe not Aladdin, actually. Yeah. But like...
even Sleeping Beauty is it's considerably better.
Yeah. Sleeping Beauty is The Lion King. It's not as good as those movies. So, yeah, I mean... It's okay, I guess. I'm just looking at what I give Aladdin. I give Aladdin a 7.5, yeah, so no, it's not going to be anywhere near that. And I also gave Lion King an 8.5. So this movie, I'm going to give it probably, a 6. That seems reasonable. What do you think, Michael? Do you think a 6 seems reasonable? I think it does. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Again, it's like we said at the beginning, it's a fine standard Disney movie, just with a little bit of a twist in there about, the narrative kind of subverts what a normal narrative is in a Disney movie, but apart from that, it's pretty average, and it's incredible. It was such a phenomenon. But there you go. So you conclude now, Michael.
All right, yeah. I'm thinking, spoiler alert, just to give things away up front, I think low 6 to a high 5 on this, mainly because ultimately it does feel like there's something about this film that feels very hollow. Like, it feels like there's so much there, and yet there's nothing that really gets me. There's nothing that really grips me. It's like you've got the fact that the conflict with Elsa is based in this really incoherent kind of understanding of why is it this huge issue. Anna's character possibly has the most well-developed kind of story arc, I guess, and is the most interesting. But even then, I don't think it's really well communicated kind of what's going on in her head, but that is probably the best thing. And then you've got the hands thing, which obviously is they try to make a twist, but in doing so they kind of add a lot of incoherency to it, and that's a big problem, again, right at the center of the film. So plot wise, it's kind of hard to ignore all the nonsense, and I think even I'm not saying you need to be like a CinemaSins level nitpicker, but literally just it's almost impossible to not be kind of have the film have less impact when you're thinking, this makes really much sense. I think, again, the fact that there is no real humor to it is actually, again, like a very serious problem, because I think that is the main thing which actually makes a lot of these films enjoyable for an older person who is not going to be impressed by sort of just generic plot points and like pretty basic stuff. The music is good in some places, in other places. The Let It Go song obviously is, I think, technically good. Ultimately, I think the drawback there is that coming back to it, I really just am not interested in it at all. So it does a good job within the context of the film, but I don't know. So yeah, the music, I didn't really care about it. I'm not really going to be blasting any of these on my radio anytime soon. Or,
on your radio?
Stereo, I guess.
In your CD player?
Yeah. gonna get the tape deck out. Don't you hate it when you put your VCR video of Frozen in and the person who watched it before you hasn't rewound it back to the beginning? It's so annoying. So with all of that said, yeah, I mean, I already said, I'm thinking like low 6, high 5. I'm looking at what I've got and I'm thinking like,
you want to decide, Michael?
Yeah.
Today.
Okay. I'm going to go for above South Park, below A Quiet Place.
You sure about that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
That puts it in the low 6 category instead of the high 5 category. So there we go. Well done then.
Okay, so there you go. Michael, predictions for Frozen 2. What is it going to get on Rotten Tomatoes? By the way, I looked at the Wikipedia page, and yes, it is going to be about where Elsa's power comes from. So there you go. That's going to be explained like we
okay, I'm going to go for, like, it's going to get, like, not that high, but not that low. So I'm actually thinking, like, 78%.
Okay, I'll go 83 then.
Okay.
To make it a bit different. Yeah. So there we go. That is it. Do you want? Should we do
are there any receipts?
Charlie's Angels? We could do it now because I think Fight Club next week is going to be a long one.
Yeah.
So you predicted 40. I predicted 60. It is 63.
Wow!
I fucking nailed it. It had a fucking 60 Rotten Tomatoes score around that, score all over this movie. That movie was never going to be anything else but a low 60. So yeah.
Well, I guess I'm kind of happy that. I guess actually, if I would have gone for 65, I would have beaten you. But I still feel like you were so close that I don't feel bad about how far off I was because I feel like I couldn't have got that close anyway. So it's fine.
Okay,
I would probably gone for like 50.
So there's the receipts. What are we doing next week?
Next week we are doing. I mean, you just said, but we're doing Fight Club.
Big Club. Right. Good stuff. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
And I've been Luke. Thanks for listening. We've been selecting and reflecting on Frozen because of the release of Frozen 2. Like we said, I think a film which was just an incredible cultural phenomenon at the time. But yeah, it's... what are you...
Sorry, I was like kind of anticipating you wrapping up, so I was getting into my comfy chair, but obviously so I don't know, yeah, it's fine though. I mean, to be honest, if somebody at this point thinks, oh, he's got a creaky chair, I'm going to stop watching. Well, that's fine because it's over. So
yeah, I was just going to say overall a bit underwhelming considering how big it was. But anyway, yeah, thanks for listening and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah.